But I don't have a minion. So is this on? Hello?
Yeah, it should be on.
You can hear me? Okay. Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Can't see you through these. Boker Tov. My name is Deborah Frischer. I am leading services today. It is the 23rd of Adar 2, 5782, or March 26, 2022. Okay. So before we go any further, I'd like to remind you all to silence your phones. And if I call on you, please feel free to come up and use the microphone to read. What's your name? Seth. Seth? I'm going to remember that. So, today's Torah portion is going to be Parshat Shmini, the 26th weekly Torah portion in the annual Jewish cycle of Torah reading. And today we'll be reading Leviticus 11:33 to 11:47. Also today we'll be doing the blessing for the new month of Nisan, which starts next Shabbat. And we always do the blessing the week before if it's on Shabbat. Today in history, as most of you know out there, I always do something in history. The construction of the Mishkan began. Also, the peace treaty between Egypt and Israel was signed March 26, 1976. And 2 years later, I was in Israel when Sadat came to visit, and it was an amazing experience to be in Jerusalem at that time, because we ran down to the street, my surrogate aunt and I, and we've grabbed onto his car, and we raced with his car all the way to the King David Hotel with hundreds and hundreds of Israelis, all excited because he came to visit. So it was really cool. Anyway, enough of my gabble. Let's turn to page 8. We begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in our lives. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services, but we need them. Through prayer, we can sense our inner strength, our inner purpose, our inner joy, our capacity to love. As we reach upward in prayer, we sense these qualities in our Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work and make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. And we're now going to turn to page 10 for Hine Ma Tov and then Ma Yafeh. Hine Ma Tov Ma Naim Shev Rachim Yalacha. Hine Ma Tov Ma Naim Shev Rachim Yalacha. Hine Ma Tov, Hine Ma Tov. La 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 la. Hine Ma Tov, Hine Ma Tov. La 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 la. Hine Ma Tov Ma Naim. La 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 la. Hine Ma Tov Ma Naim. Shev Rachim Gam Yachad. Hine Ma Tov Ma Naim. Shev Rachim Gam Yachad. Hine Ma Tov Ma Naim. Shev Rachim Gam Yachad. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. We'll now turn to page 169. And let's see. We'll read responsively. We give thanks. I'll start. We give thanks to you, O God, for this Shabbat day, which unites us as a community of faith and hope. For the memories of Shabbat, enriched by generations of our people who observed it and from it drew courage to face hardship and light to banish darkness, we are grateful.
We offer thanks for the peace of Shabbat, the day consecrated to family love.
O God, our turning to you exalts our humanity. You are the joy of our life, the source of our greatness, its power and its beauty.
Help us, O God, to find inspiration for the coming week. Help us to find peace within ourselves and one another.
Great job. Now we're going to turn to page 170. Moda ani lefanecha melech chai v'kayam shehechazarta bi nishmati b'chemla rabba emunatecha. I offer thanks to you, our ever-living sovereign, that you have restored my soul to me in mercy. How great is your trust. 172, Ma Tovu. And on page 174, we're going to sing Eloheinu Shema. Eloheinu Shema shenatata bi tehorahi. Eloheinu Shema shenatata bi And we'll start the daily miracles on 175, and we'll be doing these responsively. I will begin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'tzachim bina u'hachin ben yom u'ben laila. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam atir asurim.
Eloheinu melech
atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, rokah haaretz al hamayim. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, al bisharumim. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamavir sheina meinai, utma me'afapai. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat chorin. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvura. And together, Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Now we're going to turn back to page 83. And together we're going to read As I Awaken. As I awaken to this, my thoughts, let this be my thoughts. May my day be filled with acts of loving kindness. Let me be drawn to learning and discernment, and may my actions be shaped by mitzvot. Keep me from iniquity and sin. May I not be overwhelmed by temptation or despair. Distance me from evil people and false friends. Let me cultivate a life of goodness. May my hands reach out in kindness, and I will serve God through acts of righteousness. Today and every day, may I merit your mercy by living my life with compassion and love. Holy One of blessing, draw me to your words. Teach me the art of sacred living. Baruch atah Adonai, hamimaled chazim tovim le'amo Yisrael. And now turn to page 180. And we are going to, let's see, Elisa, would you come up and read? These are things.
These are the things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. And the study of Torah encompasses them all.
We're now going to turn to page 182, and we're going to sing it for our teachers. Our teachers and their students, and the students of the students, we ask for peace and loving kindness, and let us say Amen. And for those who
blessed with all they need, and let us say amen. We ask for peace and loving kindness, and let us say amen. We ask for peace and loving kindness, and let us say amen.
And now turn to page 188 and sing Hallelujah. And now we will turn to 194 for the Chetzi Kaddish. Please rise. And on 195. Please be seated. We are going to do the Yotzer in Hebrew just below that. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvarei choshech oseh shalom uvarei et hakol hameir la'aretz varim aleha berachamim uvtuvo mechadesh bechol yom tamid maaseh bereshit. Asech Adonai, kulam b'chokhmah asita. Ma'al ha'aretz kininecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al me'orei or she'asita yefarucha selah. Or Kadash al Tzion Ta'ir, v'nizkei kulanu, mechare baruch atah Adonai, yotzer ha'me'orot. We're now going to turn to page 197, and Stan, could you come up and read that for us? All creation.
God of all creation, you are blessed with each soul's breath. Your greatness and goodness fill the world. Knowledge and understanding surround your glory. Holiest are you among the holy, seated in glorious splendor, radiating purity and justice, bestowing loving kindness. In knowledge and understanding, you created the heavenly lights, giving them strength and power to bring light into the world. Full of splendor, they radiate brightness. The world is warmed by their flames. We rejoice in their comings and goings, reflecting the will of their Creator. Glory and honor they give to you, glowing praises to your rule. You call to the sun, and it gives forth light. You set the patterns of the moon. You are honored throughout the heavens with songs of glory and praise.
And we're now going to turn to page 198, to the middle of the page for the Ha'er Enenu. And on page 200, the Shema. Lead us at the bell.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לפניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם עלות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
And now on page 203, Ellen, would you like to come up and read? Yes. Oh, that's right. You weren't here when I announced that.
Okay.
So we're going to sing this.
Sorry about that. Sing the song of men and women, join in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of world redeemed, the song of peace.
And on 204, we are going to join together for Mi Kamocha.
צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופתי קינומך, יהודה וישראל. גואלנו, אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל Israel.
Page 218, please. We sit in community, elbow to elbow, eye to eye, so close perhaps we brush against each other as we move in prayer, ears filled with the voices of friends, teachers, fellow travelers who pray with us from the next seat, from across the room. We come to silence, rhythm of words, shared melody, hushed, connected first one to all. We now let go, to be alone with the Holy One, to speak in mind and heart and soul, but not with lips. The prayers we weave together cannot replace that private conversation. God, our partner, awaits us, one by one, a miracle. And we go back to page 205 to start our daily tefillah. Oh six. To all generations, we will make known your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Please be seated. Oh my gosh, it's that time. So we are going to turn to page, well, no, you're going to silent prayer for a little bit. Please. Okay, we're going to turn to page 216 for Sim Shalom.
Sim shalom, tova ubracha, chimo chesed rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha, achinu yotzreinu kulanu kechad, be'or panecha. Ki be'or panecha natata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu. Sim shalom, tova uracha, chen chesed berachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha.
So we are now going to go to the Torah study. We'll start on page 244, to the Torah reading, not study.
Ein kemocha ba'Elohim Adonai, v'ein kema'asecha. Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom. Av harachamim eitiv b'yitzonecha et Zion. Yerushalayim tivnech omot Yerushalayim. Ki v'cha lilvod b'tachnu, melech Yoram v'nisa Adon olamim.
246 at the top.
Ki mitzion Tetzei Torah, Ki mitzvah, Tetzei Torah, U'devar Adonai, Yerushalayim.
248 at the top.
Baruch Shenatah, Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatah, Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shema.
So, today's Torah portion that I will be reading, and I'm sorry, but I'm cheating. I printed it out in bigger letters so I can see it. But we will follow it in the Torah. Anyway, today's Torah portion will be Leviticus, Shmini, Leviticus 11:33 to 11:47. The books are in back if you haven't grabbed one, if you're interested. So Shmini opens the beginning of this week, last Sunday, and it ends today. And it opens with the consecration of the Mishkan. 2 of Aaron's sons are then consumed by fire sent by God when they attempt to offer a strange fire. And then God describes the animals, birds, and fish that are permissible and prohibited for consumption, as well as some of the laws of ritual purity. The Haftorah portion for today, the 23rd of Adar 2, says, "For 7 days the Mishkan was erected each morning and dismantled each evening. Moses served as the high priest and initiated Aaron and his 4 sons into the priesthood. Then on the 8th day, which will be the 1st of Nisan, next Shabbat, the Mishkan was permanently assembled, and Aaron and his sons assumed the priesthood, and the divine presence came to dwell in the Mishkan." There will be 3 aliyot today. The first one is for those observing Yortzites or Shloshim. And the second 2 will be for anyone who wants to come up, and hopefully somebody will. So, it's Leviticus, Shmini, 11:33 to 11:47. So is anyone observing a yahrzeit today? No. Okay, so well, first anyone can come up then who wants to do an aliyah. Come on, Vivo, don't be shy. Thank you, Leslie. Why don't you come up the second one? Let me find it. Here. Okay. Oh. Okay, and your Hebrew name is?
Rachel bat Gershon v'Chana.
Okay.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamavorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. V'chol cheli cheretz asher yafo mehem. El tocho kol asher betocho yitma ve'oto tishberu. Michol ha'ochel asher yechel asher yavo alive mayim yitma v'chol mashke asher yishate b'chol keli yitma. V'chol asher yipol miniv latam alive yitma tanur v'chirayim yutatz tameim hem utmeim yiyu lachem. Ach me'ayin uvor mikvei mayim yiyeh tahor v'nogea b'niv latam yitma. V'chi yipol miniv latam al kol zera zerua asher yizarea tahor hu. V'chi yutan mayim al zera v'nafal miniv latam alive tameh hu lachem.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. So, what happy occasion?
Well, I just want to make an announcement that I will be gone from the Minyan for a few months because we're going to be spending some time in Washington and in travels. And I will see you back in a few months, but in my absence, Alan and you should be here most of the time to accompany us. I've been part of the Minyan since 22 years ago, and it feels like a family to me. I always watch you on YouTube or the Zoom when I'm not in town, and I just want to tell you that I feel like we're related. So I will miss you all. And Yasha Koa.
Okay, second aliyah. Jim, Elaine. Well, okay, Elaine, come on up. Somebody. I know we're short, but.
Name is Etty Bat Tuvia Ve'Esther.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamborach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. V'chi yamut min habehema asher hi lachem le'achla הנוגע בנבלתה, יטמע עד הערב. והאוכל מנבלתה יכבס בגדיו וטמא עד הערב. הנושא את נבלתיו יכבס בגדיו וטמא עד הערב. וכל השרץ השורץ על הארץ שחץ, הוא לא יאכל. כל הולך על גחון וחול. הולך על ארבע עד כל מרבה. רגליים לכל השרץ השורץ על הארץ, לא תאכלום כי שחץ הם.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
I didn't announce the birth of our new grandson when I was here a couple of weeks ago, but he was born February 23rd, and his name is Calvin Amitai Lee. And he, for now, lives in Bothell, Washington. And I wasn't here last week because I went up and spent 5 days with them and got to hold him a lot.
Okay, third aliyah. Jim? Anyone else? In the, a transliteration for the bracha? Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
I am Ben Yosef Miriam.
Elena ba Abraham ba Sarah.
Okay, let me find him right here.
And so on. Baruch et Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bahar banu mikol ha'amin. V'natan lanu et torto. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Al tishaksu. I don't like being surrounded. I'm sorry. Here, you read it here. Al tishaksu et nafshotechem bechol hasheretz hashoretz velo titamu ahem v'nit me'etem bam. Ki ani Adonai Elohechem v'hit kadishtem v'yitem kedoshim ki kadosh ani v'lo titamu et nafshotechem bechol hasheretz harom meis al haaretz. Ki ani Adonai hama'ale etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim v'yitem kedoshim ki kadosh ani. V'zot torat habehema ha'ah v'ha'of v'chol nefesh ha'chaya haromeshet b'mayim v'ul lechol nefesh hashoretzet al haaretz. Lehavdil bein hatameh ve'uvein hatahor uvein hachaya hane'echelet, uvein hachaya asher lo te'achel. Yeah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'kayei olam natan b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. All right, give us.
One good, one bad. With my lawyer's voice, this microphone is on. With my lawyer's voice, you don't need that. But the good is that yesterday was my youngest daughter's 45th birthday. She was upset when I called her in the morning and not at 4:09 p.m., but I was busy at 4:09 p.m., so I had to call her in the morning. The bad, which we all can empathize with, is that I don't know the birth, the death date, the yahrzeit of my grandmother, Rosa. I know it was some 50 years ago because I remember it. But I've been thinking of her quite a bit this last 32 days because she was born in Odessa and emigrated to the United States separate from my grandfather, who also came from some part of Russia. And she has been on my mind, along with all the Ukrainians.
I just want to tell you, I feel amazing, and I just wanted to share that one with you. I feel like I'm up here doing show and tell right now, just looking forward to some of the great things. I'm solo this weekend, so I hope to finish all my book work for PADI certification. So I will become a scuba diver sooner than later. So I'm excited about that. I don't know where that came from, but I thought that would be interesting. Another thing I got really excited about this weekend is, this week, is I was on Facebook in the San Diego Garden, that particular group, and I am going to learn how to grow mushrooms. So I don't know what that means. I don't know how to do it, but I think that'll be exciting. And third, but definitely not least, is I am in a program for canine massage. So in a couple months, I'm getting ready to do my practical. So good things to look forward to.
You can practice on Ginger.
I guess one good thing that happened to me recently is
This one, that one.
my mom. She was an executive at a hospital for about 30 years, and she was laid off as part of some cuts a couple years ago, trying to get rid of executive leadership. But she kind of decided that she wanted to keep working at the age of 62, and so she ended up working her butt off on a contract at Fidelity, and she just got offered a full-time job with some pretty good pay. At an age of 63, and she's really happy, so I'm happy for her. And bad things, I'm dealing with some personal stuff, so I could use your prayers. Thank you.
In a week where we saw old white men just ridicule, treat an amazing, brilliant woman so poorly and disrespectfully, I just want to share as an old white man, when I walked in here this morning, it sounded like angels were singing. And I am just so blessed to be part of this community with such strong women, beautiful women, brilliant women, women that teach me so much, and try the best not to be one of those old white guys that just don't get it.
Not yet. Okay. Okay. While we have the Torah out, we're going to turn to page. Some page. We're going to turn to, where's my book? 253. And we're going to do our Mishaberach. Now, if you have someone you want to say prayers for healing, I'd like you to come up. Does this mic work? Yeah, okay. I'd like you to come up, line up And one by one, say the names of the people you're saying Mishaberach for.
My daughter Shira Lee and her in utero daughter who has a very serious medical problem.
I want to say it for Allie Spitzbergen and her mother, Kay, Eileen, Ellicott, and Seth.
My best man, Chuck Lubash, his son, for whom I was best man, Mark Lubash, and my longtime friend, John Tanberg.
My grandmother, Rose Gergel.
David Kroll, we miss you and hope you're healing well. And Gordon and Judy, good luck with the move.
Marshall, he has cancer, and for his kids. And I'd like to say, for the ones, the children, the people that died, it's over in Ukraine.
Okay, my typical long list: Sam Kamen, Abby Thomas, Leslie and Carl Sebastian, Jack and Bernice Sandbrand, Bob and Carolyn Johnston, Dave and Marlene Norrick, Lucy Kramer, Adele Levy, Esther Rosenberg, Ellen Kahn, Rhonda Schwartz, Jay Harris, Fred Valfer, Lee Levy, Sylvia Witterspan, and Herb Lubick.
Jory and Molly Berklin and their Jory's sister Dre and their mom, who last week lost their 18-month son, Hudson, who was a very sweet and positive baby.
I did not want to forget my good friend Michelle Davis. She has just completed her 3rd round of chemo, and her spirits are very high. So, Michelle Davis.
And my list is kind of long, too. My mother, Rita Frischer, my aunt and uncle, Rita and Jerry Frischer, my girlfriend, Sherry Brennan, and her sisters, Karen and Jackie. Karen's cancer just came back at stage 4. And my friends Ben Maurer, Bill Adams, and Chris Zinzer. And we're going to turn to page 253.
Before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu, mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuach shlemo, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Please rise for Hagba'ah.
The Torah Asher Moshe Livnei Bnei Israel Api Adonai Le'ad Moshe. Al Shosha Devarim. I do tour pictures all the time, so I show them how. Shosha Devarim. Are you putting away now or not? Stay here.
Now, page 256.
God's Torah is perfect, reviving the soul. God's teaching is sure, making wise the simple. God's precepts are right, delighting the mind. God's mitzvot are clear, giving light to the eyes. God's word is pure, enduring forever. God's judgments are true and altogether just.
Okay, we are now going to turn to page 260, 261. Our God and God of our ancestors, may the new month bring us goodness and blessing. May we have long life, peace, prosperity, a life exalted by love of Torah and reverence for the divine, a life in which the longings of our hearts are fulfilled for good. Rosh Chodesh Nisan, Yeh B'Yom Shabbat, April 1st, Shabbat, the new moon, the birth of the new moon will appear at 4:36 p.m. in Jerusalem. So the new month of Nisan will begin this coming Shabbat. Okay, now we're going to turn to page 282. Rise. Page 287. Please be seated. On page 371. 371. Yesh kochavim. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. So it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. Page 293. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people, whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. I'd like to have us all think about the people who have died in Ukraine during this horrid war. And if anyone else has a name to share, please rise. Okay. May their memories be for a blessing. And let us all rise, page 294, for the Kaddish. Yitkada v'yitkadash shemei rabbah v'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol be'Yisrael ba'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach li'olam ulamei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh Vit adar vit ale vit halal shemeda kudisha rechu leila min kol birchata v'shigata tush bechata v'nechemata da amiran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'akol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Ozeh shalom v'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'akol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. I'd like to thank everyone for helping out today. And we now have announcements from Elisa, and after announcements, we'll all meet in the courtyard for Oseh Shalom and Kiddush.
Thank you, Deborah, for leading us today and reading Torah so beautifully, and to our lovely Leslie Mark, talented on the piano. Thank you, Leslie. Next week, Elaine Edelman will be leading us in service and also reading the Torah for us. So I look forward to seeing you next week. And as Deborah already mentioned, let's go out and say the prayer over the wine and do our Oseh Shalom circle and talk a little bit and catch up. Good to see you here. Shabbat Shalom.
Because I can't suck on these while I'm doing service.